Hey, part two of my Comic-Con adventure. Wanted to let you guys know what my final evening of Comic-Con was like. I got to hang out with my friend Morgan that I went to college with. We had a blast at the Nerdist podcast live tapings at the Balboa Theater in the Gaslamp district of San Diego. One thing that was wonderful about that is we had tickets for both the 7:30 taping and the 10:30 taping, and we had amazing seats. Yay, ADA seating laws, woohoo! So we had a beeline to the stage, and there were big screens. And the first guest, and this was hosted by Matt Myra, Jonah Ray, and Chris Hardwick. And they were funny, and they opened the show. Things started a little late because Chris Hardwick hosts everything at Comic-Con, so he was running a little behind. But they were really funny and engaging with the audience. Matt Myra got a lap dance by a dude in a Doctor Who dress. Yeah, that happened. I lived that. So that was exciting. And then Chris Hardwick comes out, and the first guest is Sir Ben Kingsley. He was so epic in scale, just this man who is so kind of beautiful and thoughtful and sweet and wonderful about creativity and the love of the work that he does. And he seems to have a lot of passion in everything that he does, and he seemed very shy and dignified, and he was just very excited to be there. And that was an amazing half an hour of his time. I felt like I learned about myself as a creative person and what it means to put out work and something that will last, that people will love and see. And you can definitely tell that he has made choices that he believes in. And he talked a bit about being in, Sexy Beast and these various roles, and how he started out in theater. Well, once he found film, he really found his home. And so that was pretty amazing. He was cheeky and funny and kind. Then, that could have been the whole show for me. Then, after that, Peter Capaldi, the newest Doctor in Doctor Who, came out, and he was so dear and funny and so in love with the idea that he is now part of this fandom and this world, that he grew up being just like the people going to Comic-Con. He talked about his punk days with Craig Ferguson and what it was like being in a punk band in the 70s, and what it was like to be creative in a time where you didn't have the internet and the access that we do to the whole world that we do now, just with a camera. So it was really lovely to see him talk about what it's like to be in the mix at Comic-Con. Both he and Bill Murray, who I spoke to before, this was their first Comic-Con experience. So for me, that felt really special because this was my first Comic-Con experience. I could definitely check this off my bucket list, but now I've added it back to the list to do it again next year. It was a great time to spend with my friend Morgan. We were getting to catch up and chat, and we ran into people that I had met at Nerdist HQ, and everyone at Balboa Theater was lovely and kind, and we're excited to have us there. The second hour at 10:30 was actually Guillermo del Toro and, oh my goodness, Tom Hiddleston. Hiddles, as I like to call him. The most beautiful man I have seen in person, and I don't know how long. And whenever he would say something profound and thoughtful, which was often, Guillermo del Toro would go, "Oh," and kind of mock him. We called it adorabling. That's what Chris Hardwick liked to term it. But they were both so wonderful about their craft. They have a new film coming out called Crimson Peak. Looks like a gothic horror film, like a ghost story. It looks beautiful. A lot of practical effects in this picture. They talked about how that was important to really make scary things and things that will stick with you that you can actually touch, and it's not just done through a computer. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful, arresting picture, harkening back to a genre that is no longer. One thing that's really great about Guillermo del Toro is that he is a cinephile in the best sense. He knows his history of cinema, and he has such a love of the art that what he puts out, you can tell he's putting it out from his heart and his soul, and like he needs to get it out into the world. He was incredibly funny, and it just makes me want to go and rewatch his whole body of work again. Um, and then Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones came out, and she's 18 years old, this beautiful, kind of sprightly young lady, really funny and sharp, and has a really good head on her shoulders about the industry and where life has taken her. She started out as a dancer. She wasn't an actress. She was discovered. And then her second job she ever got was Game of Thrones. And the fact that she handles it with such grace and just humble qualities is really appealing and nice, and makes me want to be a bigger fan of Game of Thrones than I already am. So I couldn't have asked for a better night at the theater. I highly suggest you check out all of these things if you can find bits and pieces of them on YouTube, or listen to Nerdist podcast when they post them up. I believe the first hour is already up on iTunes, so check that out. And I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Check you later. Bye.